Merry Meet, Annie here. Welcome back to Tarot Together. We're journeying with the Fool and exploring the attributes to the cards as I've come to study them, hopefully encouraging you to share your thoughts too. Innocence and wonder, beginnings and beginning again, and the journey. And now an attribute I entitled change. Still looking for a different word for that. But change. And constant change, really. It's aligned to the power of the journey when it comes to the Fool. That chaotic, energetic, dancing energy of the Fool, always though headed off into a direction or many directions according to his state of mind at the time. Change. It's about being okay with making adjustments along the way. This abandonment doesn't expect a given set of accomplishments, goals met. It's okay to be caught off guard. There will be unexpected occurrences. It's about being okay with that joyful, okay, life, bring it to me, I'll deal with it and I'll get on with it aspect that is the Fool. Change could be in the moment or it could be in the future. Change on the Fool card. He's about to leap. Something drastically different is entering his life. It's about that change being constant and good and having a purpose. It's dealing with change and moving on. Jumping into change, literally, when it comes to the card. Expectancy is an important aspect to me from the card. I don't think that the Fool was expecting anything particular on his leap, but he's expecting to take the leap and experience whatever comes. If we think of him at the end of that cliff, some interpreters of the tarot say that the cliff is crumbling as he dances on the edge of it. So, there's the power then of the ground falling out, literally, underneath our feet, seeking new ground. For the Fool, his new ground is going to be whatever awaits him at the base of the chasm. Or what if you are of the school that he's leaping across the chasm into new territory? It's giving up control. It's about spontaneity. Embracing change, yet again. Leaving the known for the unknown. Not knowing how things are going to turn out. Change as the call forward. Again aligned to momentum. Beginning again, and journeying the future. The unknown future. It's a feeling of options are open. Remember, we've already talked about the power of free will, personal direction, being part of the Fool's card. Lots of options when you are the one to determine what you'll do next. You could decide to stop dancing, pull back from the edge of the chasm, and reconsider. But he probably would not do that because he carries ancient wisdom in him. We learn through changing and evolving, that expanding our perspective. It's all about encountering our own possibility. Change as the suspension between choices. It's that pause I mentioned in the journey, the sacred pause, the taking the time to consider. No matter how carefree he seems, there's a moment he decides to embrace change and leap, to take a chance. It's the power of choice, the personal power of making a decision and embracing change. My reversals for that. When there's a lack of connection to the power of change, or when the pendulum swings to the constant need for change, or an attitude of change at a time in life when another aspect of the card would be more appropriate to embrace. If the Fool is constantly using that beautiful, perfect free will he's been given to change his direction constantly, to dance at the edge, to dance around, to pull back, to go really anywhere but forward, it becomes anarchy. The Fool's split off in so many different directions. He's lost his connection to the feeling of momentum and the way forward. He could be afraid of change, and he avoids it at all costs. Avoidance behaviors become very common in those of us who are experiencing an excess of the Fool's energy. I'm happy where I am right now. I'm happy with what I know. I lack the courage to make a decision. I don't want to shift perspective or view. I'll just stay right here. Thank you very much. I simply cannot deal with change, or I cannot deal with yet another change. What about fear of making a change without knowing what will happen? Without being promised this is where you'll get. If you have the courage to make this decision, this is the promise that life will give you. He's not going to leap if that's his attitude. Fear of the unexpected, not knowing. If we think the cliffside is crumbling underneath the Fool's feet, one of the pendulum swings to the wisdom we can gain from this card is that what if we are fearful in life of the crumbling edges of our life, of what we stand on being pulled out from underneath of us, not being firm ground, not having the feeling that we are making a decision so much as circumstances are deciding for us. Lack of awareness that there is a choice, and that we have the ability to say yes or no. If we don't commit to a way forward, to say yes to the direction, or no and to begin again in a new sense, we're stuck. We're stuck between choices and we're going nowhere. Change. And if we feel like we can't make a change without affirmation and some sense of absoluteness, we need some sense of security before we make a change, decide yes or no, dance or leap. We've learned that the Fool also teaches us of hesitation. We can't control or predict everything. And if we are waiting for some promise from life and we're dancing at the edge of a cliff, and we're not open to something as simple as inspiration or whispers of wisdom or just instinct to follow, if we're waiting for life to write us a promise and hand it to us, we're afraid of change. If there's too much change, if the world is chaotic around us, if the Fool is dancing to avoid, we can be overwhelmed and distracted, living a manic and frantic life, and unable to focus. We won't take a chance. There's my thoughts on the Fool and change. I'd love to know if you've had any experiences of those in your relationship to the card, and extremes of that, lack of that, and the appearance of change outside its appropriate time in life. As always, your comments are welcome below and on our Facebook group, and the page that ends this video gives you information on that. Mary Part.